Hi, I'm Jen Boston. I teach 7th grade language arts, and I use the Smartboard every day in class. I transitioned from the overhead projector and just other whiteboards to the Smartboard probably about 2 or 3 years ago. The Smartboard just allows me to get the kids more engaged in the lesson, and it helps everyone stay on the same page, sometimes literally and figuratively. I can project the novel that we're reading at the time. I can get it on iBooks and just project it right up on the Smartboard, and then we can look at individual paragraphs or whole chapters and really break them down and do some great, and that generates some really great discussion. Awesome. And Kyle, could you write the adjective you used in the margin? Just use any of the markers. Awesome. All right. And Harrison, you had the same sentence, but you had kind. Did anyone have the same sentence highlighted? What was your adjective? Kind. Kind. Sympathetic. Same sentence?
Yeah.
Kind. All right. How many of you had, just by show of hands, how many of you had that sentence highlighted? All right, almost over half the class. What does that tell you about this part of the story? What does that tell you that all of you, most of you identified that? What does it tell you about this part of the story? Think of your plot line. Yep.
She's beginning to think that he's not that bad.
Who?
Roger.
Roger's beginning to think.
Mrs. Jones.
Mrs. Jones is beginning to think Roger's not that bad. What would we call, where on our plot line would this be? Where on our plot line? What do you think? So let's give some reference points. A, B, C, D. What do you think, Angel?
Maybe C for between C and D.
Somewhere around here? Why? Because
It's towards the end and stuff is changing on how she thinks about him and how he thinks about her.
it's a turning point, right? Every one of you had like these really pretty strong adjectives. Abusive. That's a pretty strong adjective to use about a character. And now every single one of you identified this sentence and had these really positive adjectives to support it. The story that we looked at, I found a copy online and just had it up on the Smartboard, and the kids were manipulating it. And then there's a button called Capture that I can actually hit, and it takes a little picture of whatever they highlighted, and I can bring whatever I took a picture of up in a Smartboard document, and that allows me to have a clear, a visual of what we accomplished in class. It also allows me to make a copy if kids are absent. I can just print off whatever we did in class, and they can have really great notes of everything that they missed. And so that's what the capture button allows me to do. And it just, from class, every class is a little different, and every class takes a different direction. So what this allows me to do is have a really clear record of what each class got to. And if one class kind of veers off in a direction that's going really well, I can have a record of that and maybe try to readjust my plans for the next class according to what happens. And it's just a really great tool. Kind of keeps me organized.
It's basically used to, it's like a projection, but you can draw on it and you don't have to be at a computer constantly. And you can take little markers, and you can't draw on yourself with them. They only work on the Smartboard, and you can use different colors, and you can put little tiny images of stars or something on it.
And instead of projections, they shake, and Smartboards if the cart for a projection cart, if it shakes, then like it messes up the whole screen and stuff. And Smartboards, they don't shake, which is really cool. It's like a gigantic version of Microsoft Word, but
Yeah.
it's cooler, and there's like more settings and options, stuff to do with them. You can transfer things from the Smartboard to your computer, or the computer to your Smartboard, which helps instead of just like drawing it on a whiteboard, and you can just go on the Smartboard. Pretty cool.
And you can still do like regular computer stuff like YouTube and all that stuff. Like she wanted to play like a video or something.
The advantage of having a Smartboard is that it's a lot calmer. It's like more chill, and you don't have to worry about writing and erasing and then shaking it.
And it has an eraser too, where you can just like.
Yeah. And you can change the colors to the markers, which is really cool. It's like hipster.
Hi, I'm Linda Albright. I teach science, biology in particular at Newmarket. I've been here 13 years. The Smartboard was one of the most incredible gifts that I have received in my classroom. It not only allows me to show videos on a moment's notice, from YouTube's that dovetail with the lesson at hand, but it also allows me to have interaction with the kids. The kids can come up and take control of the Smartboard, do interactive labeling, do multiple choice reviews as an entire class. It offers kids who are more kinesthetic that joy of getting up and moving with the information. It allows my whiteboard to be doubled in size because I can give notes on the Smartboard as well, and when kids are absent I can print those notes and hand them to students so that they have a copy of the missing notes. I'm also fortunate enough to have a speaker system that goes with the Smartboard in my classroom, and I can't tell you enough how the speaker system really enhances the audibility and understanding of the video material. I use the Smartboard every day for a number of different things, but clearly the goal is to get the kids to interact with the board. So one of the things that you saw today, kids were presenting a couple of slides that they had made regarding skin imbalances and using oral presentation skills, sharing what they learned about those skin disorders. It was a way for our class to fill in a table with images and class help as opposed to just sitting there with a textbook in a very stoic sort of way. So what's the name of that condition? And anyone see a connection there with the blue color? Any artists in the room? What?
Is there a shade of blue called like
Cyan blue. Cyanobacteria, another nice connection there, the blue-green bacteria, blue-green algae. So yeah, people turn blue when their blood isn't carrying good enough oxygen to the skin. Next.
Erythema, which is red in skin, is influenced by emotional stimuli. Red in skin may indicate embarrassment, fever, hypertension, inflammation, or allergy. So it's when you just get really red or like blotchy.
So the key here is just reddened skin. And it can be a symptom of many things. Remember, you don't have to write every word, just the key pieces.
Power, so pale skin. Influenced also by emotional stimuli. Under emotional stress, some people become pale. Pale skin may indicate anemia, low blood pressure, or impaired blood flow. So sometimes people faint, they're really pale, so they have low blood pressure, impaired blood flow.
So we've just had the patriotic colors of the skin. Cyanosis was blue, erythema was red, and now we have pallor, white, the red, white, and blues of the skin. We're going to turn it up to yellow.
Yeah, I had jaundice. I don't know if that's how
Jaundice, yep.
So it's pretty much just yellow cast to your skin. It can also be like your eyes. And it's when there's excess bile pigments that are absorbed into the blood and then like circulated through the body.
So yellow coloration of the skin due to liver issues. I was wondering if you knew the history of that image on the bottom right. I couldn't tell if it was the same individual, different times, or...
Yeah, I couldn't either.
All right, bile comes from the liver, and it helps us digest our fat in our diet. So when livers are not functioning correctly, sometimes this bile can spill over into the blood, cause coloration of the skin called jaundice.
Using the Smartboard helps us to interact with our class as well as the topic that we're currently working on. And it's a good way to get the students up and paying attention to what we're actually doing. So.
And it's kind of like a nice break from just sitting at your desk for like a whole 85, 90 minutes. You can actually go up and use it, and yeah, it's pretty fun. It's especially helpful for anatomy and physiology because when, I know a couple of weeks ago we were looking at different cells and the structures of them, and that was really helpful to have that. So it was, not only was, you could see it a lot bigger, and
not only for the actual identifying, you can also watch movies or videos that the teacher has to display. So that's an easier way for everyone to be able to see it.
The first time I was exposed to the Smartboard was in 7th grade in Mr. Levitt's geography class. And that was cool because we were able to look at maps on there and have easier presentations and stuff. I think more classrooms should have Smartboards because it's not fair that only a certain amount of students can have access to them. I mean, I don't know how many classrooms have them now, but I feel like a lot of more classrooms should have them, and
They're definitely helpful.
definitely.